Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to North Country Off Grid. We're gonna go play with the bees. Guys, check this out. We've got some wild comb growing. So this is what happens when you give the bees too much room. They make what is known as wild comb. So they just build the comb in the direction they want to build it, not the way you as the beekeeper wants it. So here's a bottom board that we were swapping out, and the reason we're swapping it out is because it has too much room. So you can see this is some wild comb that they have going on. It was down underneath the frames, so we swapped this out because of how thick it is with one of these over here, and you can see the difference. Those are about 3/4 of an inch, whereas this one's about 2 inches or so. But when you give them too much bottom space like that, they start to grow down and fill the space, and that's what that is. We had to get rid of that, so wanted to show you guys that real quick. We got to get this stuff cleaned up and we'll collect it. We like to clean off all this excess wax just to kind of keep your hive clean, because they'll kind of put it wherever, and you always just want to take the time to sort of trim it up. So this is stuff that you just scrape off the top of the frames. I'm sure we'll see some more and we'll show you guys. Alright guys, we're going to jump into the hives really quick today. As you can see, I'm not even wearing my cool bee hat, which means we're just kind of go through them quick. It's really hot out. Now we've added some boxes, some top supers to the majority of these, but we're not really going to go through the hives today. We're just going to kind of take a peek and see how they're doing. They shouldn't be anywhere near filling these upper supers, so we're just going to take a peek real quick. We're not going to have a full day in the apiary. It's just too hot today. So while Deegan's back there lighting our smoker, guys, I'm going to give you a little tip, because I'm sitting here filming this whole thing, or recording this whole thing right in front of the beehives. When you work in a beehive, you always work to the back of the beehive, because the bees are coming in and out, and as I'm sitting here, I just keep getting pegged by bees trying to leave their hives. So always go to the back of the beehive. So this is hive number 1. This is our Genesis hive. This hive has done great for us the whole time. This is the queen that left, and we stuck into hive number 3. So we're going to take a look in here. Now, we added this top super a while ago, so we're hoping to see some good progress in here. So Deegan's removed the lid. We're going to remove the inner hive cover. Oh yeah, lots of progress. I can see it already. So you can see all around the top of this hive, you can see all of this stuff here. This is propolis, and it's what the bees use to just seal up everything. You can see there's just a nice line. It looks like a bead of caulking. See, there's a nice line all the way around. They just go all the way around. They put that propolis in there and seal up any gaps. Okay guys, so looking in here, here's a great example of what I was talking about with extra wax. So that wax you see right there on top, that's the kind of stuff they'll just continue to build up and create a bigger mess. So that's what I always scrape off when I'm in here. And it's just a little amount of stuff, but I find that I think it's worth the time to do it. You can see they'll connect the 2 frames with their wax. You want to get that too. So I can see just by looking down in here that these are, it looks like they're going to be just about all filled with honey, which is a lot. But like I was saying, this has always just been a great hive for us since the beginning. So they're still working on this frame. You can see they're just starting to draw it out, and nothing on the back. So these guys still have room to build, which is great. So what I've noticed in most hives is that the bees will start building, they'll start building and then come all the way over. And it seems like they stay off this side of the hive the longest, which happens to get the most amount of sun. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, it's just what I've noticed. On this side, that is all honey right there. It's got a weird, they're kind of capping it all weird. It's drawn out and capped low, and then in the middle it's all drawn out a lot further. On this side, you can see they're also drawing it out and starting to cap it. Okay, so looking down in here, I can tell that this frame, 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 all have capped honey. The bottom of this frame, they're still working on. So they have the bottom of this frame and this frame to draw out and continue to add honey to. So we'll probably be adding another box to this one. We'll add another super to this, and that'll allow them to then come up even more and continue to build more honey. So going into the winter, they're gonna have the brood chamber down here where they're putting, you know, they're making new bees. And the bees are coming up here and they're filling this with honey. And we'll put one more up here and they'll come up here and fill that with honey. And we're hoping to go into the winter with a complete, 2 complete supers of honey, 1 and 2. So we need to get one more. They've got a couple more months to do so. So hopefully they do well with that. So we'll be adding a box to the top of this one. Alrighty guys, we're on to hive number 2. Now hive number 2 had a swarm as well, and that swarm we caught and we put into that box right there. So hive number 1 went to hive number 3. Hive number 2 had a swarm go to green hive number 1. So let's take a look inside hive number 2. Okay, so these guys got a little bit different. They got a little different pattern going on. So looking down in the hive, guys, I can see down in there. I don't know how well you can see with the sun, but these two, this one and this frame, you can see are just ballooned out. There is just, this all should just be honey, but it looks like some of it might be honey, and then it looks like some of it's just drawn comb. So let's pull these up and take a look. So I can see the rest of these look like they haven't even been touched. There's no bees on them. So we got a good collection of honey there on the top sides. You can see honey in the top, some pollen, and then a bunch of eggs in the bottom. So there's a queen in here. Those are tiny little eggs. There's a queen in here doing work. And then this side's got a bunch of capped honey as well. I'm not really looking for my queen, but I can see down in the bottom of all of these, there's tiny little grains of rice. It's smaller than grains of rice. Which means we've got eggs laying, so she's somewhere. A lot of honey in the tops, and then some brood in the bottom. Alright, so that's good for hive number 2. They've got plenty of room to grow, so we're going to just continue to let them do their thing. No need to add a super. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... at least 5 frames that they still need to work on. Okay, so hive 2 is done. Green hive number 1, which is the next hive in the sequence, we went through it, like I said, switched out the bottom boards, so we're not going to go through it just now. There's quite a few frames for them to be working on, so that's got plenty of growth to take place before we do anything. So we're going to go down to blue hive number 3 and see what they're doing. This was my number 1 queen that flew from my best hive, which was hive number 1. So my Genesis queen is now down here while her daughter continues to carry on the legacy. She's doing great down there on hive 1. So we'll take a look at hive 3. I'm expecting it to be pretty full as well, and then probably have to add another super. So just looking down through here, I can see that there's not too much going on these outside ones. They are starting to draw them out. These inside ones have some pretty good comb and stuff in there, so we'll take a look. They're working on this frame, We got a little work on this frame, and it looks like not much work on this outside frame. So they're coming up in the middle and going out both ways. Okay, so this one I got a lot of drawn comb and a lot of empty cells that in my mind should have eggs in them. So we're gonna look through here and really try to find our queen, because it looks like we've got some open cells. So I think I can see a queen cup in this top frame here.
Looks like they got a queen cell. Is that a queen cell, or are they just building it weird?
So we're going to use some smoke to clear these guys off so you guys can see the queen cell here. Okay, so this looks like it's still open or just opened. So they either freed her or they're sealing her up. And it looks like they freed her, so we are late. We're late to the party on that one. So this right here is a queen cell, and it's already hatched. She is not in there. So she came out, the cap is still on the top, so honestly they probably just released her not long ago. Okay, so we haven't really checked these hives in about 2 to 3 weeks, so the possibility of a queen getting made and getting released already is very likely, and it looks like something may have happened where they needed a new queen, because they've got, like I said in the first one, they've got a lot of cells with no eggs. So we just finished up hive number 3. Hive number 3 has got some issues, guys. The queen seems to be missing. There's a lot of empty cells, where just a couple weeks ago was a lot of brood. So it looks like the brood hatched, came out, and probably had a swarm. I'm betting we had a swarm. Although there were a ton of bees inside that hive, I'm betting we had a swarm, didn't catch it, they took off, and we just didn't hear them. But the hive is queenless. There was at least 9 queen cells in it. It looks like we probably missed it by a day or 2, which is fine because we obviously need the queen. So I'm not sure what was up with that queen. I think she might have been working too fast. When that queen went over to that hive, she filled up that hive really quick, but we got her a top super in enough time, and it looks like she went up and did some stuff and then disappeared, because there is most of it is getting drawn out, a lot of it's getting drawn out, but there's a lot of cells that were just empty, so something could have happened to that queen. She was producing like crazy, but now number 3 is a big question mark. We don't really know what's going to happen with it. We're just going to have to keep an eye on it. So the queens did emerge, and it looks like they started uncapping the other ones. There was one still that was not uncapped, a queen cell that was not uncapped. So it looks like this probably took place today. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. We now know that there's at least 1 queen in there, or will be a queen, but we're going to have to wait a while for her to mate, lay eggs, and get more. So hive number 3 is not out of the woods. We got plenty of time before the winter, but they've got a lot of work to do if they're going to get enough honey to store for the winter time. All right, guys, well, while Deegan is putting the lid back on top of the hive, we are going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification if you want to follow along with the bee videos or all the videos on the farm, and we will see you on the next one.